wanted to ask you about is the role of failure, because we talk about success, we talk about high potential, and a lot of people are really interested in the positive elements. How do you do well? But I think there is a significant role in learning from failure, learning from experience. So how do people learn from failure? Do they get better? Can you spot it? Can you help them get through it?
I don't think you learn a lot from success. I think you learn a lot from failure. And if you study entrepreneurs, one of the things that you always notice about entrepreneurs is how many times they've failed. You know, they've gone in, they failed again and again, but each time they take a lesson from the failure, which they don't repeat, and they've got the courage to do it again. Now, sometimes failure knocks people out for all time, that they don't have the resilience to come back. But I think it's the takeaway, the lesson. So it went wrong. Why did it go wrong? What can I not do again? What can I learn to do differently? If you can take that lesson away from failure, then I think you have at least the possibility of learning to do something very different.
Yeah, and it's different when you're an entrepreneur because you have to be responsible for picking yourself up, for doing all of that. But what about in a large organization? Obviously, you don't want to set people up to fail.
No.
But is there a way that you can teach people to learn from failure, to do that in a structured environment?
Yeah, I think some of the organizations I've worked with have had, you wouldn't call it that these days, but it has like a buddies scheme. You know, the American military dealt with this, that they try and encourage you to have a group, a support group. It might be a mentor who's very, very senior. It might be people on your level who you go to when times are hard, and they go to you when times are hard. And you know you've got this social support group. So this makes you more adventurous, because if it goes wrong, there's going to be somebody there to help pick it up. And I think some organizations are wise about this. I know some of the ambulance crews, I know, do this because they go to horrific events, they see terrible things, and afterwards they support one another. So I think some organizations are clued up about that, about how to do that to help people through these bad times.
Yeah, and managers really have to be as well too, right? You need a very emotionally resilient manager, someone with higher adjustment, to be able to not freak out when something minor goes wrong and to say, okay, let's pick this up, let's fix it, here's what we can do next time, if the mistake or the failure isn't catastrophic. I know we've worked together before, I've made mistakes. And
indeed, so many times, and we'll continue so to do.
Same, and kind of pick it up and go onward and upward.
Yes.
Let's learn from this, let's not do it again.
Yes. I mean, I think it's the lesson of cognitive behavior therapy. I think we interpret the event. What went wrong? You know, was it our fault? It could have been our fault, but what have we learned? How can we not do this again? How can we interpret this? How can we reassess the way we do things, how we think about things, so this won't reoccur? And this, I think, is why you learn from failure, not from success, because success teaches you just to carry on doing it the same again and again without learning anything different.
Yeah, and that's why things like stretch assignments are good, right? Because it sets you up in a certain kind of controlled environment.
The best organizations, they give stretch assignments as a learning opportunity. And if you fail at them, it doesn't matter. It's not a test. It's a test of what you learn. So I can remember with a colleague of mine, he was working in Asia, and he was asked to run an office in the Philippines, and it went badly wrong for a number of reasons. But he learned from it very quickly. He's now a very, very successful banker. But what he learned was how to work in Asia, what not to do, what suppositions not to make. And from that experience, the organization saw that he had learned something, promoted him, and that was the right thing to do. Stretch assignments are some of the best ways of learning rather than formal ways of teaching people in seminars with PowerPoint and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and you see, I think personal accountability is really important in this too, right? Because you see the classic politician, mistakes were made somewhere along the line. But to actually learn from that, you need to be able to take responsibility and say, here's what happened, here's what I did, here's what I will or won't do next time.
If you get a politician to say that, you're a very successful individual.
I would make a lot more money than I do now.